don't buy Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. At least not yet. How y'all doing tonight? Jack here. Welcome back to the channel. This actually could be probably a shorter video. I'm actually super busy right now. I was just over at New York Fashion Week over the weekend, and I'm doing a lot of work for a client. I just wanted to talk about my impressions of this game going into its full release tomorrow, I think. Today's Wednesday, so tomorrow, the full release of Test Drive Unlimited. And to say the least, I think this game has had a little bit of a rough launch. I didn't get to experience the catastrophe that was this game's launch when the gold edition came out. I actually got my code a couple days afterwards. Still ran into some issues, not as many as I thought I would when I was playing the game. I actually ran into more issues off stream, and that's when I started getting the issues that people were talking about with the race servers not working. I didn't experience the bug where you could buy one car, you end up with multiple of them. I didn't experience any login issues, any queue issues, and who knows, they might have fixed those. They might those issues might come back when the full game gets released tomorrow. We don't know. But gameplay wise, I just want to talk about my opinions of the game. And in my opinion, Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown feels like a game that's stuck a couple years in the past. Back in the day, TDU 1 and 2 were innovative. They were pioneers in the arcade racing game space. You know, there's a lot of things you could do in those games that you couldn't really do in other racing games. And to be fair, the Test Drive games weren't racing games. They're more lifestyle simulation type games. Racing was obviously a core component of the game, don't get me wrong, but the main sticking point wasn't really the racing. In fact, the physics weren't even that great in those games. I actually think Solar Crown has better physics than the last two Test Drive Unlimited games, which is wild to think. The main draw for those games was more so the community aspect, you know, being able to group up with people, have just like normal regular car meets, going to the casino, being able to customize your own house, your own character, get like makeup done and all. It was a lifestyle simulator. It's basically rich person lifestyle simulator. And that was the main draw for those games. However, going into Test Drive Limited Solar Crown, a lot of those features that made those games unique are not in Solar Crown, at least not yet. You can't buy any houses. There really aren't any stores around the map where you can get makeup done or go clothes shopping. There's no like plastic surgeons. Those are all elements in the game, but they're all within the confines of the Solar Hotel. You don't have your own house. You have your own suite in the Solar Hotel. And all the shops that you would ever need to customize your character are also within that shop. They're not scattered around the map. And a lot of the community social aspects that were available in TDU 1 and 2 are not in Solar Crown. You can only have about 8 people in a full server. I barely saw anybody around the map. It was actually like, oh my god, that's an actual person when I actually saw somebody or someone got into my race. Most of the time I felt like I was alone. I felt like I was playing a single player game until you realize, wait, this is an always online game. I can't pause mid-race. I can't restart a race mid-race. I'm bound to a server. If the server goes out, I can't play my game. And I think, and even now, I think it's a big kick in the guts to Nacon and Test Drive now that the Crew has announced that the Crew 2 and Motorfest will be getting offline modes, which is a little fucking late, by the way, considering that the best Crew game is no longer available. So that's still a kick in the nuts, but I'm not going to get into that. Solar Crown really doesn't do anything better than any of their competitors. There are a few things. I think the progression in Solar Crown is a lot better than, say, Forza or the Crew. You actually do have to work up for the fastest vehicles. You have to work your way up. Granted, you know, Solar Crown, Test Drive, it's okay that they focus more so on luxury cars and like exotics. That's kind of their shtick. But there really isn't a big variety of like American, JDM, anything that isn't European or exotic. There really isn't a big variety of. Another thing I'm not a huge fan of, and this is more so a personal thing, but everything feels very sterile. Everything feels very futuristic. There's this weird like Star Trek like futuristic vibe to it. I mean, you can see this when you're launching the game for the first time. I was literally just sitting there like, what the fuck am I watching? It just feels very out of place, and it doesn't really feel like a Test Drive game in my opinion. It was a much, I guess you could say, more chill vibe. Here I feel like I'm in like a business meeting. I feel like I'm on my way to a board meeting. I've got that very big corporate vibe from Solar Crown, and that's not really the type of vibe I'm looking for in a Test Drive Unlimited game. I think they've got the vibe completely off. The game's also very repetitive. There's really only races, and that's it. Races and time trials and a couple different varieties of them, but that's really it. There aren't any delivery missions, any hitchhikers to pick up, no cops to run from, no car delivery missions, just no casino. They even mention, oh, there's missions and the casino on their website. It may not be there anymore, but they were listing this as the game was out, and after they announced that some of those features, such as the casino, are not coming for like another year. I feel like if they focused more on some of the elements that made Test Drive Unlimited unique, such as the casino, the delivery missions, the hitchhiker missions, you know, that type of stuff, the shops around the map, the clothing stores and all that. I feel like if they went more on that as opposed to the racing, the competition, like the Solar Crown tournament, I think they would have been in a better spot if they have to kind of pick and choose what they are releasing with. Because not launching with half of the features that made Test Drive Limited 2 unique really does not make your game stand out amongst the Crew Motorfest or Forza Horizon or even Need for Speed. It just doesn't stand out. I will say, I like the map. Hong Kong Island, I think, is done really well. I like the variety of like the tight inner city streets to the wide freeways around the map to the mountain roads. I think there's a good variety in this map, and it's a lot bigger than I thought it would be. So I actually kind of like the map, and they are adding Ibiza in a couple of months, but it's only like the city. I don't know if they're rebuilding Ibiza or I don't know. That's a really weird design decision. I think it comes off as a little pandering. I don't know, but that's just me. Also, I just want to talk about the performance real quick. The performance is fucking abysmal. It's actually atrocious. On Series S, there's no 60 FPS performance mode. It's 30 FPS and that's it. PC, you need like a fucking NASA computer to play this game. And I've seen performance issues on consoles as well, aside from the Series S. So it's not just a Series S thing. It's all around the board. But what do you guys think about Solar Crown? Let me know what you think down below in the description. I'm going to say wait. This is a hard wait until the game comes down on a mad discount. It's going to be a while till I think this game actually is like doing pretty good. Unless you can't live without playing a test drive game, I'd say hold off on this game. Just wait. You're not really missing out a whole lot. It's got an outdated car list. You know, the game as a whole just feels very outdated in terms of like its features, its content. Just the performance is off. The performance is off, and it doesn't feel like a proper Test Drive Limited game, in my opinion. I mean, it's an okay racing game at its core, but other than that, like, there's nothing really unique about it. And this is a AA game. It's clearly a AA game that's being sold at AAA prices, so I would wait till it gets down to a AA price before you pick it up. But that's it for me tonight. Thank yous for hanging out with me. I will catch yous all later. Have a good night, everybody.